Good morning. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. So just to recap, if you're joining us fresh, my name is Jackie Moss Apodaca, and today we're going to be talking about coding for kids and how that works into our public school system, because 85% of our kids attend public schools, including I'm a product of public school, Jeff is as well, and our kids go to an APS school. So as a background, I got my undergrad and my graduate degree from NMSU, go Aggies, and I worked for a SoftSource, a software company down in Las Cruces. We were purchased by the Learning Company, and I worked for the Learning Company, and then Mattel Interactive, and then Disney Interactive, and I created their Girl Gaming line of software, and then also their Creativity line of software. So I've always had this passion for learning, education, and technology, and those have always fit in my past. So when Jeff and I moved back here, we are always trying to find ways that we can improve our kids' education and supplement it at home with things that will help them in the future. So to give you a background of how I got involved into coding, I met this gentleman who's a friend and now business partner, Anthony Lupinetti, and he is not able to join me today because he is in the classroom coding, teaching our kids. He approached me and he said, Jackie, kids in India and China are learning at age 4 to code, and they're going to be ahead of us. And in the UK, which most people relate to more because we're an English country, is they're starting at age 5. It is now a required part of their curriculum. And we've looked at the UK curriculum and it's beautiful. I'm not saying we need to adopt all of it. I'm saying we can learn some great lessons from it. So he said, what do you think about doing this in New Mexico? And my immediate gut reaction was this kind of sigh, because we fell so behind in mathematics, which is the first universal language. You don't have to speak the first language or the similar language as someone around the world to do math. Coding is now widely considered the second universal language, and the great news is that we're not behind yet. So I said, let's do it. Kids are amazing and their capacity to learn is endless. So we began teaching after-school classes of only about 8 to 10 kids at North Star Elementary, which is where our kids go. And with the guidance of the allowance, rather, of our principal, who's very supportive, and teachers who had heard about it, but they have enough on their plate, the excitement spread through kids and teachers alike. And we soon realized, with the amount of kids on our wait list, that we needed to get into the kids' school day. And with things that are already being taught, like core curriculum, we would wrap coding around math concepts that already needed to be taught. So we would go into a classroom and volunteer basically to help kids learn what they already needed to learn for that day with the help of a teacher. And we would wrap them in coding concepts. So we're trying to alleviate a little bit of the burden off of teachers and also teach our kids something new and inspire them. So we begin at kindergarten, believe it or not. Kindergartners can learn things that we didn't learn in my kindergarten class. So we basically teach them things like algorithms. It's a step-by-step process to achieve a specific goal. And in a 5th grader's mind, that is basically pouring cereal into the bowl and then pouring milk on the cereal. So you're just telling them what to do because they instinctively know they shouldn't be pouring cereal onto the table. So, and that is learning an algorithm. We also bring in robots from the computer and have kids look at the back of it, and it helps to demystify what is in a computer. So over the course of the past 2.5 years, we've been able to get into 640 students' days in their school day and provide 1 hour worth of coding every other week. So this basically is like every other pullout, like a PE or a library or an art. It is a critical part of today's world and tomorrow's jobs. And when I mention coding to most people, they would think of like the Matrix, a bunch of zeros and ones. But the movement now is to much more graphical or visualization programming. It's basically dragging blocks around the screen. And for kids who are visual learners, it helps to that kind of more immediate gratification that is so prevalent in our kids today just because of the world that we live in. So our fifth graders, by the time they reach fifth grade, they're learning Python, and they are replicating home security systems. And these are fifth graders. You know, at that age, you're 12, 11, 12. And imagine where they would go and how far they would go if they kept that learning trajectory. So we use programs like Scratch when they're younger, Scratch Junior when they're very young, and also Python when they get to that age. We are using Raspberry Pi computers, and it's amazing how computers have decreased in their cost. I think a Raspberry computer itself, the brain is $35. Then you also have to add on the keyboard and the screen. But the cost of technology has decreased greatly. It's that human capacity that we also need to teach and put together that knowledge. So half of the schools in Albuquerque are Title I schools. So this means that they have at least a 50% population that is being economically underserved, or disadvantaged, I should say. Those schools are the schools that get a lot of federal funding. So the computers that they receive are often, or the iPads are often just put away into a storage unit because they don't have the amount of volunteers that the non-Title I schools have. So the non-Title I schools have more human volunteers and human resources, and the Title I schools have more technology resources. And what we've learned over the past 2 years is that we need both. We need almost 50-50, because if you have a computer but don't know how to use it, you're not going to go as far. And if you don't have a computer and know how to use it, then you don't have the resources or the technology to basically test and learn more. Our program is called Open Source Kids, and open source is a computer term that basically means everything's free, because what's on the internet right now is basically free knowledge, and anyone can learn it. You just have to find the best pathway for you. It's amazing too, because we heard so many, we're 50th in education. Why would you even think about that? We need to deal with all these other issues in education and with our kids, and it's true, we do. But we sit on $23 billion, and that amount of money makes the $150 computer or the $35 brain seem like a no-brainer. So not every child will become a programmer, and it is going to be something that is going to be just in their everyday lives. Whether you're a carpenter, you'll probably have electronic tools or computerized tooling. Whether you're in manufacturing, you will also have that. But there's one thing that computer programming, just the learning of computer programming teaches you. It is like a foreign language. So you're expanding that part of your brain that can basically absorb another language. So say Python becomes obsolete in 2 years, because 60% of our technology will be obsolete in 2 years. So you may be asking, why are we even teaching our kids something that will become obsolete? So once you have a programming language down, it is like a stepping stone for the next programming language, because you already have the basics. They all work the same, they just have a different kind of specific language. So for the kids who are not becoming programmers, this is what they're learning: creativity, abstract thinking, decomposition, problem solving, confidence in their abilities, perseverance and determination, and how to create content instead of just consuming it. There is enough content out there, and what we need to be putting in front of our kids, because this is not a free leash to put your kids in front of a computer. We still need to be very involved parents, because once a child sees something that you're a programmer, every child in New Mexico deserves the opportunity to be introduced to something that may change their life. In New Mexico, so I was going back to New Mexico, we are 50th in education. And part of what's going to help us change this is putting Wi-Fi around our state. And this helps in everything from remote learning to jobs that even on our pueblos, they can go back to their pueblo and work on project jobs from around the world, basically. We can be anywhere. The people in New Mexico can be working with anyone, by anyone, but we have to update our infrastructure. Our Wi-Fi is critical to businesses and education alike. So let's see. I think that's basically it that I wanted to share with you. In case you want to get interested in your school, I think the most important thing that you have to do is ask. And homework scares most parents anyway, but all I can say is don't be scared, because your kids aren't scared of it, and they will lead you. So ask your school for coding programs, ask your educator, your teachers, your principals, your communities, look out. What we need to basically put this whole system in place across the state is both human resources and technology resources, because together, like I said, those have to work together. All right, so now I'm going to be taking some questions. Let me know if I've missed anything. Let me see, the first question is how to fix New Mexico. And my pledge as First Lady in my platform. So I have a passion, like I said, for education, and I love technology, and I believe that you have to feed a child's belly before you can feed their mind. I say that often because I remember in elementary school when we didn't have a lot of money, and I helped in the cafeteria, and I learned a lot from those sweet ladies, but I always had a full belly, and I was always able to learn, and I never was hungry. So I'm going to make sure that as First Lady of New Mexico, I will help our educational system. Our kids do not deserve to be 50th, and we've been drained the last 8 years. And I don't know why that we're still in this position, but teachers are amazing. Teachers are important people in our lives, and pretty much everyone has a teacher that changed the way they felt about a subject or just about themselves. And we have to give them back that confidence, the teachers, so they can instill that confidence in our kids instead of going for a second or third job after school. We need to be focusing on our kids. Education is a huge part of the platform. I know we can do better, and if we improve to 25th, that's my goal. Another pledge that I want to make to you is the arts, because I've always been involved in art and music and painting and sculpting. I believe that it can be a universal language as well, and that's when a lot of people can get out their feelings. There's enough anxiety going on in the world, and there's enough bad things that for kids to be able to focus on creating something beautiful, we need to be instilling that in them. And we're a state that's known for our art, and we need to push that and thrive on it and take great pride in that and help those facilities and help the nonprofits, help kids get out of their world and help them understand that they are capable of much more. All right. Let's see. We want to be the governor and first lady for all. Is that a quote I have on the site?
Yeah.
We do. What drove me to this decision for Jeff and I is reading the journal on I think it was on my Kindle or something, and there was yet another story of us being 50th. And I just thought about all the kids who were hurting or in abusive relationships, or their parents were abusing them, and how I wanted to help them as well. My kids are safe, they're fed, they're learning, and that's great. That's my good goal in life, is that if we fail our kids, then what is it all worth? Education is the one thing that cannot be taken away from you. Education is everywhere. And I want people in New Mexico, regardless of age, and I'm talking about whether you're graduating college, we want you to have that stable job that is, you feel good about the amount of money you're earning, or a later in life where you need to retool your skills and get involved in those pathways that we always talk about for carpentry, electrician, any other trade skills. We have the unions here. We need to start feeding them again. I remember when I was in high school, I went to Manzano, by the way, we had those programs where my friends took advantage of it, and I didn't, would earn college credit and basically got ahead. I know so many people who graduated early with those college credits and knew their path in life that early. I would love for kids to also have shadow programs, because if you think you want to be a dentist or a lawyer and you get into that world and you can actually see yourself in that position, it'll help them dream. It'll help them figure out what they want to do in life. So I think it's important that we give kids a behind the scenes look at careers. And we need more of those careers here, but there are many good programs like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and the YMCA, and those programs were built out of necessity, and they are still around and do amazing things. So there's programs that we can work with and just not have to retool the whole wheel, but let's figure out which programs work, and then let's feed those programs. There's another question here. How will you change the way our kids are educated? Because all we do is test. Yes. We have become an all we do is test society. The park will disappear. And it will disappear as soon as we get in. So January 1, it's gone. I am saying that right now. I'll probably have to let my husband know that I just made that declaration, but it's gone. And as far as core, I'm not against testing. I'm not against the concept of core curriculum and core studies, because when a child moves from Las Cruces to Albuquerque to Santa Fe to Roswell, we want all the kids to be able to jump into their school day and their learning and not feel like they're behind. One of the largest problems in Albuquerque with our truancy is that when you are in a lower income situation and the family moves from one apartment complex to another apartment complex because there's free rent for the first month, which is life-changing, then if they go to another school district and they're behind, sometimes they're not given enough support. And if the child thinks that they're behind because they're dumb or it's their problem, that starts this whole cycle of failure. And if we catch kids before they get to those stages, I don't believe in the third grade hold back rule. We could be spending so much more money on putting a counselor in every school. I know that there's a counselor now for every 10 schools in middle school, and that's not acceptable. With the amount of anxiety and drug abuse and alcohol abuse that's going on today, our kids have a lot to worry about. And if you turn on the news when your kid's at home, first of all, I would ask you to maybe watch the news. Watch the news a little bit without your kids and not with your kids. The anxiety level might go down. So we have to protect our kids from the world that seems to be moving very fast, is technologically advanced. And I would also encourage you to just watch what your kids are looking at on the internet. And one of my platforms will be cyber safety and security and also bullying. So I don't mind telling you that I was bullied in middle school, and it was a hard experience for a little less than a year. And I will never put up with that again. I will tell my kids never to put up with it. It's easy to be divisive, and we need to be kind, and we need to love out loud. And as our good friend Jennifer Reardon, who's no longer with us, used to say, kind, loving, caring, and sharing. I think every child needs to be shown kindness, and if they don't get it at home, they should be getting it at school, because that's the next place where they are in their waking hour. All right, so this is a question. someone asked, just why are we the best fix? Why do we think we're the best fix for New Mexico? And what do we bring to the table? It took me about a year for me to jump on this campaign. And once I did it with everything in my heart and in my soul, because I saw the people who will be running against. And my worst fear is that nothing changes in New Mexico, is that we will always be 50th. And that's not acceptable to me. And when Jeff approached me with, we need to do this, can I have your support? It took me a while, but once I understood all his positions and his platform, and I helped form him on the things that I'm passionate about, I said there's no way we can't do it now, because we know that this is the best fix. You know, we've had people in our office that have drained the blood out of our state in every area, in healthcare, in education, in infrastructure. But we have so much amazing potential in this state that we cannot sit still. There's no reason that we're shoving money in our mattress for it to reach 24 billion. We're at 23 billion right now. And we're the third largest permanent fund in the US. It's the third largest savings account in the US. I don't want to spend it. I want to invest it. Any good person, business person, knows how to invest. And that's one of the things that I know from being with Jeff for 23 years. He knows how to invest. And we talk about investments all the time. This takes something from a person who has something to lose in this state. We've got stakes in this state. We have family stakes in this state. We have kids stakes in this state. So we have passion for this state. And I can guarantee you, if we are blessed to serve the first 4 years and lucky enough to serve the second 4 years, we will get out, we will make all the decisions in office together that are best for New Mexico and New Mexico's people at all ages. And we will get out. Because I want to live in a better state. I want to live around my family and my community. I'm first generation New Mexican, he's 15th generation New Mexican. But this is what New Mexico looks like. And we must be doing something good, because I think just yesterday we found out our opponent had copied our educational plan, among other things. And I told my kids that imitation is the best form of flattery. And when you're doing something right, people pay attention to you. And we have the details to back up our plan and the thought process that we've been doing for the past 2 years on this. We're not going to wait for the day we come in office. With the day we come in office, we're going to have to run. It's a sprint. We have to implement, because we've been starving long enough for good change in this state. Okay, so those are the questions that I have so far. Anything else that I've missed? All right. Well, thank you for letting me being in your home or your office this morning. And if you have any questions, you can email us at info@apo18.com. We do have volunteer times that you can come in on pretty much every day of the week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and canvassing all day on the weekends. And we need you. We need people. And even if you think, I'm just one person, I can't make a difference, that's all it takes is one person. Because as I often ask Jeff, that's a famous quote, if not us, then who? And if not when, then now. Now, then when. Thank you all, and I'll talk to you soon.